Hello everybody, and welcome to Nutritious Fitness. I'm your host, Kurt Dirksen, certified personal trainer and nutrition geek. Today I want to share what I hope will be able to keep short, a story about the celiac disease diagnosis that I got many years ago and the benefits of knowing that information. This is primarily for people who think they might be dealing with celiac disease, have just learned they have it, or have had it for a while and just want to hear about someone else's experience. But this is also an overall nutrition lesson for everybody about the importance of food, the impact it has on one's health. Fitness is nutritious, nutrition is fitness, fitness and nutrition together are health, as I say often. So a little bit about my issues. Celiac disease diagnosis as of January 2013, after living whatever that is, 44 years, more than 44 years, dealing with problems, health issues that never would have tied to diet, certainly wouldn't have tied to one item, gluten, but ultimately was determined that I had celiac disease again in January 2013 after colonoscopy, endoscopy, a biopsy of my intestinal lining, finding out all my villi were shriveled up, pretty much gone, reducing the surface area of my intestines and my ability to absorb the food I eat. That, along with the blood test, confirmed it all. Little did I know how much that was going to fix things. So I had been dealing my whole life with, I guess I'd say undiagnosed ADHD, allergies, other issues, random case of pneumonia once and things like that, that I think I can tie back to celiac disease. But the more important issue I had for, well, what year did that start? Late 90s? Yeah, late 90s. I was having what I term, and I've mentioned in other videos, brain farts. Lots of them. All right, they were 10 or 12 a day. Ultimately was told it's seizures, epilepsy. I was diagnosed as epileptic well into dealing with these brain farts, and I'll continue to call them brain farts. I'll explain in a minute. But 15 years of that, and at the end of that 15 years, wasn't time for diagnosis yet. No, I started getting severe heartburn, especially at night, and I'd wake up in the morning with my trachea, my vocal cords on fire, and other miserable side effects from that. After 2 more years of that, so 17 with brain farts, 2 with my throat burning every morning and other issues, led me to a gastroenterologist, and that's where that colonoscopy, endoscopy, and the various diagnostics that came with it determined I had celiac disease, and lo and behold, went off of gluten. Had to. It was hard because I've always loved bread. Even now I could smell bread and drool. I'm only human. But it wasn't long. I mean, just a few weeks into gluten-free, as I learned what gluten-free was and made a few mistakes here and there, before, wow, brain farts, seizures, not happening anymore. Heartburn, stomach trouble, burning throat in the morning, not happening anymore. It was really, truly that one ingredient, that simple. Wheat, rye, barley, and associated gluten content in those ingredients. Read some other places there may be gluten-like substances in other grains, but those were the primary ones that fixed everything for me. Just to give you an idea of, how lightly I took it a few months in, about 10 months into eating gluten-free, I was leaving town, I was moving away, and I wanted to have a beer with my best friend. So I thought, okay, I'll put up with the heartburn and I'll put up with my throat burning in the morning. So I went and had some tasters at a brewery I hadn't been to and enjoyed it very much. I did love beer. But lo and behold, next morning, actually my throat didn't hurt, didn't burn. But worst thing that happened, hives, allergies, an outbreak. That, okay, I thought hives for a day. No, this was hives all over my body, from the top of my forehead down to the top of my feet for 2 weeks. Wow. And lo and behold, that's where I kind of tied in, well, gluten was actually causing my allergies. And related to allergies, let me just tell you, I grew up with pets, a cat and a dog, had allergies to them. Got tested, skin tests many times over the years, had allergies to dogs and cats. Well, went gluten-free, and sometime later, a couple of years later, went to an allergist. Didn't test positive anymore for allergies to cats and dogs. And lo and behold, got some cats in my life. No trouble at all. So, food. Gluten in particular for me, but could be any food depending on who you are. Everybody's individual in that sense. Caused a heck of a lot of issues for me. Seizures, allergies, GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, and related heartburn, throat burn in my case. So, cured with gluten removal, all these major issues, and many others that probably could have been traced back to my childhood and were all along being caused by gluten. Just as a sort of relatable story, I just got this book and started reading Beat Autoimmune, author Palmer Kippola, functional medicine person, ultimately not an MD, just somebody who had an experience like mine. Just a couple chapters into the book so far, and lo and behold, she had probably more than 15 years of multiple sclerosis, damage to brain tissue, damage to the myelin sheath, and bad news. And all the doctors she had gone to said, well, there's nothing you can do. Guess what? Just getting into the book here, gluten. She doesn't have celiac disease, but had gluten insensitivity, or gluten sensitivity, excuse me. And lo and behold, cut out gluten, no longer had multiple sclerosis. There was damage done to her tissue, but over time, through scans, she discovered that was improving, healing. Once again, gluten. Again, I'm not saying gluten's the answer to everyone's problems, although she mentions, and I have seen many other experts mention, gluten is undigestible for every human being on earth. Go dig it up. You'll find MDs, PhDs, and none of the aboves pointing that out through their own research and experience. So gluten is bad news. If you love bread, you love beer, so did I. Too bad. Try giving it up, along with researching other foods that might be causing you grief. Health issues that you have right now, diabetes type 2, celiac, or anything autoimmune, lupus even is mentioned in this book, can be enhanced, worsened through nutrition, food intake of certain kinds, and fixed, alleviated, improved through removal of those trigger foods. Could be a little bit individual, a little bit different for everybody. Again, I don't want to point out that gluten is the end all be all problem for everybody, but the bottom line for celiac disease like myself, wow, it really did its thing to me, and I had no idea. It was there all along. I spent over 40 years of my over 50 now years of life suffering before that was finally determined, having all sorts of trouble that actually was caused by the food I was taking in. Again, my favorite's bread and occasional beer. Did like going to microbreweries at one time. Still like the smell of beer, just like the smell of bread. So think about reading something like Beat Autoimmune. I'm also reading from William Lee, MD, an actual medical doctor, Eat to Beat Disease, where he kind of points out various foods that can have negative effects on your immune system and other things, and various foods that equally can have positive effects on those things and improve your overall health. So I hope you'll consider, whether it's these books, or I'm sure there's many other authors' titles out there related to autoimmune, celiac disease, diet, nutrition, and its effect on your health. I am not the only one on YouTube or on earth saying this. I just have my own personal experience to share here. For those of you out there with celiac disease, it's tough, but you know what? If you've been diagnosed, or if you suspect it, overnight, cut out the gluten. Remember, it's in a lot of things. Remember, if you have actual celiac disease like me, a processed food, a corn tortilla chip that says gluten-free on the package, doesn't mean it doesn't have gluten. All right, keep that in mind, that you're taking a chance with those things. Less than 20 parts per million is considered gluten-free label. Anybody can put the gluten-free label on their food if they have less than 20 parts per million of gluten. If you've got celiac disease, 1 part per million is all it takes. Just recently, 2 weeks ago now, I'm still suffering the consequences. I had a lettuce-wrapped cheeseburger at a local place. I won't mention them because I don't think they did anything wrong. I knew I was taking a chance. But I'd had a burger there, as I have it every week, for years. knowing that it was one that I could get away with. Well, lo and behold, my burger probably shared the griddle where they had just grilled a bun, or even a bun crumb, tiny little crumb, got into my cheeseburger. And here I am 2 weeks later, still suffering the consequences. Had a few brain farts, had intestinal trouble, not so much heartburn on a dose that small, but intestinal trouble for sure. And it's not fun. And it's 2 weeks now, getting a little bit of improvement. Oh yeah, hives. I got hives all over my body again that pop up every day. But that is the kind of thing for a celiac person like myself that actually has an effect for about 3 months. These visible signs will last 2 weeks. Maybe it's going to tough it out another week to make me suffer. But the damage is done to my intestines for about 3 months. My intestinal lining is damaged top to bottom and has to restore itself. And that's assuming I don't get gluten again. I don't do anything stupid, like go to some other restaurant where I've had good luck and have a bad day. So keep in mind, for those of you celiac, that's my story, along with somebody else who had trouble with gluten that caused MS. Keep in mind, again, for those with celiac, that it's a tough journey. It's a long one. Mistakes will be made even after you've quote unquote fixed yourself by avoiding gluten. It happens. As long as it's not deadly to you, you will suffer and get through it. For those of you who just have other health issues and think, oh, there's nothing I can do, I got to take this pill that the doctor gave me. Listen to your doctor for now, but do some self-experimentation. Get better on your own. Realize the importance of nutrition, diet, if you want to call it that, but this isn't going on a diet. This is a lifestyle, how you're going to eat today and every day for the rest of your life to improve whatever issues you might have. Cholesterol issues, autoimmune conditions, heart conditions, clogging arteries, things like that. You can fix it with nutrition. Do your homework. Find books written about it. Watch some experts on YouTube or other people who have had a similar experience to you, and just get better. All right, it can be done. Doesn't require medication for everything and anything. Maybe a little bit of that'll help, but sometimes that just affects your blood numbers, and everybody says, well, your cholesterol's lower, but the root cause of the issue is something you're still ingesting daily. You're never going to fix it with a pill. Okay, so take care of your health. Once again, fitness is nutritious, nutrition is fitness, fitness and nutrition together are health. Thank you.